Hi, it's Mike. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video on the Phoenix housing market and the national market, I'm going to talk about mortgage rates, how they affect property. I'm going to give a real life example of a client that wants to move from Tucson to Phoenix. He's an engineer. He makes about $125,000 a year, but he can't move. And I'm going to tell you why. Stick around to the end of the video to get all the information, but let's start talking about the scenario. So here's a summary. He's an engineer. He makes $125,000 a year. He owns a 2,500 square foot home on an acre lot. He's thinking about moving to Phoenix because he has a better opportunity with a new job paying $150,000 with the option of even making a little bit more in the form of a bonus. On paper, it sounds like an easy move. Smart, right? But when you run the numbers, he's completely stuck in Tucson. He can't go for a new job. He may not be able to move for a long time, or maybe not until retirement. So let's talk about this. Hundreds of people in America right now, homeowners, are stuck. Whether they want to sell their home or not, they can't move. They can't take a new job. There's a lot of issues right now, and it all comes down to what it really costs to move. The second thing is home sellers. They only worry about price, the price of the home, what they're going to get, and comparing it to what other home values are in their neighborhood. They don't take into account one thing. What's the buyer's payment going to be on this house? They don't care. Okay, so here's the situation. His Tucson home is worth $574,000. He owes $390,000 after the money that he put down. His mortgage is at rock bottom rates of 3.5% interest. Now he's tempted to sell, pocket the equity, and buy a home in Phoenix. He's willing to take the equity of about $140,000 and put it down on the next property. So let's first go into a side-by-side comparison in Tucson. His monthly payment is only $1,751 in Tucson at that low interest rate. He's going to incur selling costs of around $30,000 to $40,000, including closing costs and moving. So now let's look at the Phoenix housing market and where he's going to be. Well, number one, he's on an acre lot in Tucson with a 2,500 square foot home. To replicate that in the Phoenix market, he's probably going to have to pay closer to $650,000. That's right, $650,000 to get an acre lot on a similar type 2,500 square foot home. Now his is a single level home down in Tucson. It's a ranch. He doesn't want 2 stories, but in Phoenix, he may have to go for a 2-story home. So let's just take for an example, forget about the $650,000 home because that's going to be too expensive. We'll look at the price, but he's going to buy the same home now at $575,000 in Phoenix. He's going to put a down payment on. So now he's going to have a new payment at 6.75% on a $430,000 loan. He's going to be at $2,790 per month. That's a substantially larger monthly payment. That's over $1,000, and the new pay with the new job is not going to be nearly enough to justify that. Now let's just say, for an example, he took the $650,000 home because he wanted to be more similar to what he really has. He loves this house. So the loan amount after a down payment on that one would be $506,000. At 6.75%, his payment on that property would be $3,283. That's $1,500 plus more a month that he would be paying. So even with all his equity, the payments are still skyrocketing. It's not that he can't afford a new home. It's just the new job is not going to be enough to afford an equal home up in the Phoenix area versus the Tucson market. And here's the kicker on that. He may not even qualify for that new payment of $3,200 a month on a $650,000 home. He may or may not qualify for the other mortgage. We don't know what his other expenses are, his car payments, his medical insurance, his property taxes. We just don't know all those other things. At $125,000 to $150,000 income, lenders are going to use a debt to income ratio. A jump from a $1,750 mortgage to a $3,300 mortgage could easily push him out of the qualifying range, especially with all those other expenses. So it's not only a bad financial deal, the bank may actually say no. This is why the Phoenix housing market feels frozen in 2025. It's actually throughout the nation. Millions of homeowners are sitting on 3 to 4% mortgages, and even with their equity, or they're calling it now frozen equity, they'd have to double their payment to make a move. And in many cases, they may not even be able to qualify for the new home. That's why the inventory is tight, sales are low, and the market feels dead, even though prices haven't completely collapsed yet. So the takeaways in this, if you're a seller, this explains why you're not getting buyers to your house and the buyers are being very picky. They won't stretch out unless the home is absolutely perfect for them. If you're a buyer, this creates opportunity when the market is slower, but sellers are still listing their prices at very high numbers back in the 2022 range when prices were the highest and interest rates were the lowest. Some buyers may have to sit it out right now, stick with where they're at, or possibly consider renting. Would this buyer want to rent if he moved up to the Phoenix market? No. He's not a renter type. He doesn't want to rent a property. He wants his own home. He enjoys spending his weekends working on his yard, cleaning his cars, and doing a number of other things around the house. The bigger truth is, until rates drop substantially lower and prices reset, many homeowners are not going to be able to make a move. Now, this situation would have put one more new home on the market in Tucson and absorbed one more home in the Phoenix market. So 2 homes, 1 transaction. This isn't happening. This gentleman has decided not to move, not to consider the new job opportunity, and now he's stuck. What'll change? We'll wait 4 or 5 years and see what happens. Probably something is going to happen in the economy at some point, and we'll only know when we get there. Thanks for watching today. Take a look at some of our other videos. Call us if you need any home valuations. You want to go look at some properties in the greater Phoenix and Scottsdale areas. Have a great day.